Yes, now, bless now. Don't forget to rest now. Des, Rocksteady at King of the Fresh Trims TV. That's KOTP TV. Don't get it twisted. Radiohead, yeah. I did my reaction videos. Come here, you. I did my reaction videos to Pablo Honey by Radiohead, the debut LP. Quite a while back now. I started with OK Computer, and there was a great big fan base asking me, we love Radiohead. We need you to check out more records. So I thought, well, let's go from... Did I even go from the top? I might have even done the Bends before. I actually went backwards. I think I did the Bends then. I did Pablo Honey. But I've started again personally. I've actually put Pablo Honey again on in my personal time so I could do this video, communicate with the Radioheads out there, because I know there's plenty of you, and talk about my thoughts on Pablo Honey, especially in relation to the other records, because now I've listened all the way up to King of Limbs. But I'll be doing these reviews one by one, re-listening to the album, and then I'll record my final overview, and I'll give you a rating as well, because that's what I've been doing, and that's what I want to do. I want to get into reviews as well as I digress. So, what I found out from you lot is that Pablo Honey's a bit controversial as far as the albums, because they're very fresh, they're very new on the scene, and it isn't what there's not a crazy amount of notification of what Radiohead will become in that music. But I'm gonna speak to the people who don't like Radiohead, Pablo Honey, that much. I'm gonna speak to you, right? If you don't like Pablo Honey because you think it's a bad album, you're wrong. Alright? It's a great record. I like it a lot. I like Pablo Honey more than when Radiohead started to throw all the electronics in. Are they as artistic and adventurous in this particular period? No. Not as far as soundscapes and experimental music is concerned, but for someone like me who wants to hear a guitar-driven record, I think it's absolutely spot on. Now, on Spotify it states that this record came out in 93. If it was out a little later, I would say that they had taken a lot of direction from Oasis. There's a lot of Oasis vibes. It's rock and roll. You know what I mean by rock and roll. Not literally, but it's rock music. Rock star music in a sense that sometimes the guitars are so overdriven. Boom! Gives you a right good kick. Very powerful. Something I associate with the Radiohead guitars, and they stand out very, very boldly on this record, is the broken chords. Bing, 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 bing. Plenty of that. Great choruses when needs be. And I hear a lot of UK influence. So when I say Oasis, early days, very, very, very indirectly, there was a sprinkling, an indirect nod to the Sex Pistols. And I hear that in one song in particular on Pablo Honey. It doesn't necessarily seep through as bold on the rest of the tracks, but that distorted guitar is there. And once I heard not only the Johnny Rotten, but the guitar licks I have heard back on the record. Is it Never Mind the Bollocks? It started to make me think and apply it to the rest of the music. Now, I also heard a lot of The Cure, believe it or not. On one song in particular, it was very, very Robert Smith. acoustic guitar, or a clean guitar for the most part, strumming a few chords. The melodic value and the phrasing of the vocal was very Robert Smith. I heard The Cure in the music. There's enough variety within this record for us to have ups and downs. There are a couple of tunes that don't impress me as much as others, but there are some tunes that I think that's a brilliant tune. That's a great melody there. That's a great hook there. That's a good chorus. And we can go from overt distortion without it being a real kick in the ass like they then go on to do later on, to clean radio rock vibes. And when I say radio rock, I really mean we can hear some great songwriting elements within this rock music that is marketable to a very broad spectrum of people. Very unlike the path they chose to take, and rightfully so. As artists, you have the freedom to develop and progress in whichever means you want, and Radiohead really ran with that, and that's to be really admired, because I'm sure when the money started to come in, let's start writing a few hits, let's get a co-writer involved, but no, Radiohead continued on the way they did. So I've enjoyed Pablo Honey in my second listen through. I broke it up into 2 listens. I listened to half and half. I had 2, call it 20-minute drives, and I put on either half, either side. Very animated vocals. If anything, I would say the most uplifted Tom has said. It is Tom York, right? The most uplifted and buoyant he has sounded. I would say youthful, but that's just by default. It was a long time ago. He didn't sound like a kid. There was a maturity to the music within reason. And I'm gonna rate Pablo Honey. I haven't had it on repeat. But I'll happily give Pablo Honey a 7.5 out of 10 for it being guitar-driven rock music with great songwriting elements, great catchy melodies, infectious melodies, thoughtful lyricism, applicable lyricism, nothing too abstract. And they got to the point, and that's what I appreciated about that record. I don't like to run around in circles to try to make sense of music. That's not something I am particularly interested in, so it is subjective, and that's what I give. Now, I'm going to do another video from here on. I'm going to check out the Wikipedia page. We'll look at a bit of background, a bit of history that surrounded the record and the band at that time, and see what they got up to, alright? Peace.